In this week's episode, they are determined to stay connected with the rest of the world. But first, he made it to the top because he has nerves of steel. Hello and welcome. Sello Senyatsi is an inspiring businessman who has recently been featured in the prestigious Forbes magazine. But his success followed long and unfortunate life events. He spent 6 years in jail for a crime he committed in a moment of rage. Interestingly, it was prison that taught him the skills that led to his success. He was preparing to be part of the legal fraternity. A bright law student who thoroughly enjoyed his studies, Sello Senyatsi had done his family proud.
Out of that family, the only one who managed to do matric, that was only me.
Sello did well for himself, studying at Turfloop University, selling fruit and snacks to pay for his tuition. His family struggled financially. But in his second year, Sello couldn't manage on his own.
I went to my father and said, look, now we need to pay for, I managed to pay for first semester, then we are supposed to pay for second semester.
It turned out his father had lent the little pension money he'd saved to a family friend. But things became complicated when Sello's dad suddenly died of pneumonia in 1990 before he was repaid. Shortly after the funeral, Sello confronted the man who owed his late father money. He was overcome with rage.
I got a shock of my life because he was so angry with me. He said, look, I don't owe your father anything.
His anger didn't subside. Days later, a fuming Sello went back to the family friend with a firearm to demand his father's money. As tempers flared, Sello fired a warning shot in the air, a decision he would regret dearly.
I never practiced a gun in my life. Never done that.
In that moment of chaos, bystanders sprang into action and overpowered Sello before taking him to the police. He was sentenced to 12 years in prison for attempted robbery with intent to murder.
It was end of the road for me. Here I was studying and doing well with my studies. I was doing well with my studies. And here I am in prison.
From wanting to be a lawyer, Sello had broken the law and was paying a heavy price for it.
It took me 2 years to accept that really I'm a prisoner. One thing I regret, I think I should have taken it in another direction.
4 years into his sentence, Sello was moved from Baviaanspoort to Pretoria Central Prison, where he had an opportunity to learn new skills.
We cover a lot of things, from making furniture to working with steels, doing trailers, mechanical engineering.
He took advantage of these opportunities and studied education and sheet metal work. At this stage, he was beginning to see new possibilities for his life. After serving half of his 12-year sentence, Sello impressed prison officials with his good behavior and was granted parole in 1996. Now, starting life on a clean slate, he approached a relative to help him find a job.
My elder brother was working as a boiler maker, as a welder. He said, come, you can work at our factory.
The following year, he moved to an engineering firm in Johannesburg. While working there, his sister asked him to install new gutters at her house. Having learned the skill in prison, Sello was inspired to create them from scratch using steel. When neighbors saw his unique creations, they requested his services. Gradually, Sello was beginning to build a customer base and eventually started his own business.
To develop his business further, I assisted him in getting in machinery from America at the time. And we had meetings with the bank to make sure that the finances were organized.
From a convict, Sello Sinyatsi has managed to turn things around. In almost 2 decades, he has built an inspiring enterprise, expanding beyond Gauteng and securing a place in the prestigious Forbes magazine.
People probably expected him to continue failing, probably go back to jail because of what he had done. Spending time in jail, coming out and becoming an entrepreneur with no schooling whatsoever in business, and he's made a success of his life.
There you have it. As always, we appreciate your feedback. Against all odds at enca.com. You can also be in touch with us on Twitter and Facebook. Still to come, a poverty-stricken community in the Eastern Cape finally gets connected. An impoverished Eastern Cape community has taken the bull by the horns and empowered itself. Instead of adopting a victim mentality, residents of Qinsa near East London are making sure that technology doesn't leave them behind. We traveled to that part of the country to see what they've done. We are living in the information age. Companies can hardly function without these complex tools that connect us to the world. If you think about it, social networks are so dominant, it's hard to imagine life without them. But as most of us advance in the digital age, spare a thought for those left behind. Qinsa, on the outskirts of East London, is an example of a community that's technologically marginalized. With little to do, social problems become the norm.
There's not a hell of a lot to keep young people here. We're fairly limited in terms of, well, there's no real industry outside of a construction sector and a tourism sector.
Poverty is one of the main challenges of this little village. And also crime is one of the challenges.
But local residents were not going to allow the situation to stay dire. Today, there is an organization called Friends of Qinsa. It runs a few development projects.
We have rugby, we have netball, we have volley, we have surfing, we have cricket. Cricket is very new. Also through Friends of Qinsa, we have drama.
But it's their mobile computer laboratory that is bringing meaningful change in this village.
The Big Green E-Machine was really a responsive project to address some of the issues which we're encountering in our existing education projects. So going and establishing computer labs and then working with the school on a daily basis to implement computer literacy lessons.
Local residents, young and old, now have a chance to learn computer basics from holding a mouse to surfing the internet. And it's free of charge.
The minute you take that very simple skill that we don't even recognize, it's just something that is a part of how we operate. You take that away from someone, and you shut down a huge amount of potential to where they could be going.
My first day, I was scared, even not knowing how to touch a mouse, even not knowing how to type. But they start us at A up to Z to know how to type and how to handle a mouse, everything.
Ndaqala ubona nekhompyutha. Ixesha elininzi ndandingayazi uba mna ndingakwazi ujongana nekhompyutha.
The beauty of this mobile laboratory is that it is affordable because it runs on solar power. But it took a lot of effort for Friends of Xinsa to get this life-changing project up and running. Mike Dennison and Nokuphumla Phakamile, along with other founders of the organization, had to convince international donors to believe in their vision.
We've had great support from a range of businesses and foreign colleges and friends.
Mike is a businessman and former teacher born here in East London. He met Nokuphumla, who teaches at a local primary school, while he was showing tourists the area. They shared ideas and agreed there was a need to bring education and skills development to this forgotten village.
We wanted to unite. We wanted to bring social transformation.
Absolutely incredible. Well, that's it for now. Join us again next time as we explore the lives of those who dare to dream, the people who are committed to making South Africa a country of possibilities. My name is Mphola Gaje. Cheers.